Here we go. Da, 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 da. Lots of red lights. And I want to see Iron Man kicking some ass. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna get a crick in the neck. Because I'm in an IMAX on the front row. My eyes are gonna hurt. And so on. Yes! Avengers assemble. Hurrah! Hello, Moobit here. With a vloggity car thing for you. I've not done one of these in a while. And of course, in fact the last time I did one of these, I think, was when I went to a secret screening at the Cineworld in Nottingham. And I was convinced that it was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. The video's right here if you want to see that. Click there, right there in the passenger seat. There we go. And it wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy, it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Which actually was a pretty good film, and I'm not really a fan of the Planet of the Apes. But yeah, I like that film, it was very good. Andy Serkis is a revelation in it. Good stuff. But of course, it's that day, it's Avengers 2 day, it's Age of Ultron day, a film I've been carefully looking forward to since the last Avengers film. And obviously all those internet nerds get all these bits leaked out bit by bit, and it got to the stage where so much leaking out, I stopped looking at it. I looked at the production stills and the official shots and things. Ooh, Vespa! But I had to stop with the trailers. I mean, this one had what? 15 trailers it felt like, including the TV spots, all with slightly different footage. It's like you could piece together a quarter of the film from that. So yeah, I've started to not watch the trailers very much. Sorry if there's a bit slow and stuttery. You won't notice the slowness because I'll edit it out. But there may be some stutters which I'll just leave in. It's the whole speech neuron therapy stuff, which I spoke about in a previous vlog on a very personal channel. Long-term subscribers will have seen that. But yeah, back to the Avengers. Yes, this is going to be awesome. There's damn you fellow nerds, you know who you are. I've pretty much had to switch social media off in my breaks and lunchtimes and things because you guys are all talking about how great the Avengers is, and you're all going, oh, did you remember this bit? This bit was good. Oh, I never thought this would happen. Oh no, yeah, la 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 la. So yeah, not good. Well, it's good. It's excellent that you're excited about it, but for anyone who's trying to just on the day at least stay spoiler free, it's really hard. You cannot believe how excited I am for this film, especially just because obviously the first one was so successful that I'm willing to bet that Joss Whedon was just given free rein with, you know, a little bit of Disney holding them back, but I doubt the execs were making them cut things and stuff like that. I bet it's a bit more comic booky. I know the fact we've got the Vision in it, which is quite a hard character to translate on the screen, I would imagine. From what I can make out, it's Jarvis. It's the guy who plays the voice of Jarvis in the Iron Man suit, so I'm guessing it's just Jarvis as an AI personified into one of this Tony Stark's robots. Although why be green and yellow, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get around that, but we'll see. Vision, yes, I'm looking forward to seeing how he's interpreted, and of course, Hulkbuster. Come on, you know you want to see a live-action Hulkbuster. Oh, really excited. But enough of me rambling on. Let's get it on! Yay, and that is it. Initial reactions? Rather good. Gut feeling about this one? not as good as the first. That might change. It wasn't as simplistically joyful as the first one, but it's still a damn good film and a damn good comic book film. There's light and shade positives and negatives to it. Spoiler alert! So, biggest negative and positive at the same time. James Spader's work as Ultron, his voice work was very good. Although for me, as an Ultron fan in terms of how it's depicted, how I imagine him sounding in the comics and just in the animated series, a bit too human. He's supposed to be, you know, this AI robotic thing, and he's almost emotional, which to me Ultron shouldn't be emotional at all. He should just be a bit cold and like almost, dare I say, wooden. But the voice work was brilliant as a character. As a character, you know, in its own right, his work was brilliant. The Ultron work was brilliant, but the character of Ultron wasn't how I personally would imagine a robot, which understandably, according to its own viewpoint, programming, whatever, feel that the only way to cause peace on Earth is to destroy the thing that's causing all the noise in the first place. Us humans. You know, it's great, but the character as it was written in this, he was very humanistic, almost, and he was very funny in some places, which is great. Typical Joss Whedon humour, very good. But I guess the main thing for me was that even in this day and age, with the artwork and graphics and everything else being as good as they are, I still can't get behind a fully CGI character, and Ultron was. I mean, there was a guy with parts of the suit on the set, I believe, from set photos, but you know, he had full facial expression, his lips were really, really detailed, and I don't know, I didn't get behind him in that way. Not in the same way, weirdly, going back to the other film that was a surprise to me last year, Planet of the Apes, fully CGI characters there, but for some reason I got behind those, I believed in them, whereas Ultron, he's still, ironically, for a artificial intelligence, he was just artificial. There's no danger to me. That, you know, they were just fighting something in mid-air. You know, I was fully. I didn't get behind and forget that Ultron was a CGI character. You know, it's almost like you can tell you knew he was fighting a CGI character, and obviously you know that anyway. But when you're sucked into the film, you're supposed to just not almost forget it. And yeah, I didn't buy him, if that makes sense. Positives though, there were a lot of them. A lot more character development and character work in this. All the actors were given time to shine and really flesh out the characters of the main Avengers. And they even had the sort of lesser Avengers, if you will, from the other films like War Machine and such in there, which was quite nice. But the main Avengers very good, especially Jeremy Renner, after allegedly bitching about his character in the first one being not Hawkeye, because, and let's face it, you know, he wasn't Hawkeye, he was a zombie, but Loki's zombie guy for most of it. He was very good in this. He was Hawkeye. He was a smart ass, you know, dry sense of humour, like death and destruction raining all around, and he's just taking the piss. It was very good. I liked him. Hulk was given more to do, and by Hulk I don't mean Bruce Banner, who was also there, who was obviously the highlight of the last film. But Hulk himself, for a big green rage monster was very likeable, was very relatable almost, and you know, the facial, then talking about the CGI and not getting behind Ultron, the CGI on the face of the Hulk when you get in the close-ups and he's sort of Black Widow and things, which I'm not too deep into, you'll see what I mean. Very believable, even though he's not there, you know, it's obviously the actor's face, and I got behind Hulk in a way that I just couldn't get behind Ultron. I think what the point was with Ultron is, again, it's his lips. It's so much humanistic facial expressions for a species that he's supposed to hate. And I think if Ultron was a bit more dead behind the eyes and a bit less expressive, I mean completely, but maybe if it, like in the cartoons, his mouth didn't move, for example, and it was just like lights behind an open mouth, or you know, maybe, you know, just gaps in his face, and then the lights were kind of flashing like a Dalek, you know, in time to him speaking, something like that. I think would have been a lot better than what they did in terms of giving a full sort of humanistic face. Personal preference, I guess. Stark's creation of the Ultron program seemed a bit rushed to me, just to get to the shiny fight sequences and people arguing and stuff. I would have liked to spend a bit more time on that, even if it's just some throwaway thing where it's maybe you know, maybe there's some throwaway line where they were saying that the Ultron thing was something they've both been working on, but they found some notes from, say, Hank Pym or something like that, and they'd already, that's why it was so quick to create it, because they'd been working on it for years. Now it's obviously hinted at that Banner and Stark have been working together on it for a while, but then they activate it and it instantly becomes sentient, and then 5 minutes later he's got his Ultron body, rather than going through, you know, the broken Stark robots, the broken Stark armors, and then maybe a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and then he becomes the Ultron robot. He just went there to Big Mama Jamma, and it's just like no gap. You know, there was no resemblance or sense of time passing between the bit that you've all seen in the trailers when they're getting pissed and trying to lift Thor's hammer, and the Stark possessed armor by Ultron comes out. There's no time between that and Ultron just appearing in his big Mama Jamma Ultron bot mode. I'd like to have seen like even if it's just in a montage sequence, just like more of a natural evolution of it. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a long director's cut with lots of scenes talking about that put back in. We'll have to wait for the Blu-ray for that. Thor's part seemed, to me, it was there. He had lots of funny lines, lots of good interplay between the team, but in terms of what he did, I mean, the whole film just felt like a setup for the next Thor film, really. I seem to be hitting on this quite a lot. I seem to be like poo-pooing it, but I'm really not, ladies and gentlemen. It was a really good film. It was a really good, it's funny, I mean, it's hard to describe without just telling all the jokes, and out of context they won't sound funny, but there was a lot more humour in it than I expected. I thought it'd be a bit more dark and brooding, this one, but it was good. You know, it was just the interplay, the teamwork was fantastic. The lines, you know, you believed they were all friends, you know, and they knew each other really well, and they were comfortable with each other, both, you know, on set in terms of the characters, and I guess off set as well. They seemed to be having a ball making this film. But it just seemed like it was lots of small little rushed scenes stitched together, whereas the first one seemed to be one long scene played out over the course of the movie, if that makes sense, whereas this one was lots of little interplays and lots of little scenes, almost like you're a Reader's Digest, or you're skipping through pages in a diary and just skim reading it, you know. That's the difference between the films. Doesn't mean to say this was a bad film. The pacing was fast. It's a long film in terms of running time, but you didn't feel it when we were watching it. It shot by. But yeah, second viewing will be good, just because there's lots of things that quite make sense because I don't read all the comics all the time, that are obviously sort of Marvel fanboyish little Easter eggs and nods and stuff like that. So it'd be good to do some reading up and then see it a second time and kind of, you know, take part in all that. Overall, a very strong Marvel film. Because that's what you got to describe it now. It's a very strong Marvel film, a good comic book film. Not the best Marvel film, but I think I preferred the more slowly catchy monkey approach of the first one, personally. A second viewing may change my mind, and I know I've been poo-pooing it. It's definitely a 4.5 out of 5. It's great, but it's definitely not the best Marvel film.
I like to move it, bit, 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 bit.